Hello, welcome back to Learn Oikonomia. Today we are going to discuss the idea of mercantilism. Let's discuss the same. So we could find that mercantilism is an economic theory and a practice that had originated in Europe during the 16th and 18th century, or from 16th centuries to 18th century. We could find that in Europe, mercantilism as an economic theory or practice was originating. So we could find mercantilism is an early form of nationalism too. So this was giving emphasis to the idea of nation. Coming to the primary objective of this particular thought, here the main objective is to build up wealth and power. So when we consider a nation, as per mercantilism, a nation should focus on building its wealth and power. And how can it do that? It can do that by conducting some trade and also by accumulating some precious metals. Precious metals. And those people who have supported mercantilism have told that if you could accumulate more gold and more silver, you would be rich. And that means these are precious metals and you are accumulating it, and it would become a scenario to make you rich. And this is what mercantilists always thought about. Coming to the beliefs related to mercantilism, they always believed in the idea of protectionism. So what does it mean by protectionism? They believe that always it's important to take some protection for our domestic economy. So protect our domestic industries. Protect domestic industries. How can this be done? Some protective measures can be taken here, such as tariffs, quotas, subsidies, etc., so that our domestic industries would be getting some kind of assistance as well as some kind of protection from foreign competition. So this would be assisting in increasing domestic production, and also it will further lead to increase in export. So what happens when export increases? You will be getting more receipts. There would be more inflow of funds. This is what mercantilists believed in. Then they believed in the idea of Booleanism. So that means if a nation wishes to be rich, what it has to do here is, as per mercantilists, they have to reap and accumulate as much as precious metals as possible, as much as gold and silver as possible. So this could be made possible by having a favorable balance of trade. And when we say favorable balance of trade, we consider a surplus. And what does it mean by surplus? When we compare the outflow of funds and inflow of funds, when we comparing these two things, the inflow of funds should be more. That means the amount of money that is flowing from abroad to your nation should be more. This is what mercantilism as a school of thought believed in. Now, they always believed in, or this particular school of thought always believed in the idea of colonies and resources. Why? Because if you want to be rich, just establish colonies, because colonies are a better source for every country to access some natural resources. Just think about Britain, what Britain was doing to India. So British administration was colonializing India. It was actually exploiting India. When it was administering India, or when it considered India as a colony of its administration, it had exploited India. It had taken all our wealth, it had looted India, plundered India, and it has taken all our richness. So it was making use of all our natural resources too. So apart from this, we could find that when you have colonies, this would help you to have some captive markets. So it would be assisting you to get new markets like what Britain was doing to India. Britain was taking all the natural resources from India, and in Britain they were converting or transforming these natural resources into some finished products, and they were taking these back to India to sell it in Indian markets. So creating some foreign competition issues for our domestic industry. So definitely our indigenous industries were suffering, but Britain was gaining a lot. British economy could accumulate a lot from India. So what happened? So this was actually increasing the economic power of Britain, and this is what mercantilism says. When you have colonies, when you have provision to get resources from these colonies, and when you could have a new market for your product, you can have more economic power. Then, what about government intervention? As far as mercantilism is concerned, they always believed in, or the idea of mercantilism always believed in, the idea of encouraging significant government intervention. We talked about taxes, we talked about subsidies, etc., tariffs, etc., etc. So, what is this all about? A private entity cannot impose a tax or a tariff. It cannot give a subsidy usually because it's interested in making profit. So, subsidies is something that a private entity would not in usual times go for. So government can go for subsidies. This is because government intention is to ensure welfare of the citizens. So whether it is tax or subsidy, government intervention is something about which we are talking. And government would be playing a crucial role in regulating trade. So it will be ensuring that it is setting right kind of prices. It will be giving some policies. It will implement policies. Why all these are taken? Because we want to ensure that our domestic industry is progressing. Progress of domestic industry should be ensured, and also we need to ensure that there is more trade happening, and when trade happens we need to ensure that our export is more than import. So when export is more than import, we need to ensure that our export receipts is more than import payment. So then only we could have surplus kind of trade. Now, so therefore what we could find from the ideas of mercantilism is that mercantilism was laying foundation for the development of modern economic theories. Definitely, mercantilism got a lot many criticisms from various other schools of thought, because mercantilism was relying completely upon the idea of protectionism. What would happen if the government is protecting its domestic industries forever? So this will not be permitting the domestic industry to find some prospects to grow by its own. Again, it's talking about hoarding precious metals, accumulating precious metals. But remember, this happens only with exploitation. You will be accumulating some resources, but that might be with the exploitation of others. Like what Britain was doing to India. Britain could reap a lot, but India got exploited here. So, thus what happens is that it is something complicated, it is something that would involve a kind of cost for some section, and it involves complications and complexities. Also, mercantilism was talking about the importance of free trade and market forces in some areas to promote economic growth and welfare. But sometimes you could find that it was taken some contradictory kind of approach. It was talking about protecting domestic industries with tariffs, subsidy, etc. At the same time, it is talking about the role of free trade and market forces. So it is conflicting and contradictory to an extent. So in that respect also, mercantilism got a lot many criticism from various perspectives. That is all for today. Thank you for watching. You can like, subscribe and share for more videos. You can join our free Telegram community. I'll be providing the link of the same in the description box.